is Dr. Raford. I'm the Chief Operating Officer and the Futurist in Chief for the Dubai Future Foundation. And on behalf of our leadership, His Excellency Mohammed Gurgawi and His Excellency Omar Al-Awama, I'd like to welcome you and thank you to this joint event between Dubai Future Foundation and DIFC Courts about the courts of the future. Part of our job in the Dubai Future Foundation is help to facilitate the creation of a 21st century city, country, and world. And one of the ways we do this is through imagining rigorous futures that we would want to live in through programs like the Museum of the Future, through developing partnerships with private sector, academic, and research institutions through the Dubai Future Accelerators, and through developing pilot projects. You know, you've heard the phrase that a picture is worth 1,000 words. We really believe that a prototype is worth 1,000 pictures, at least. So we tend to try to do action-oriented exercises. We'll build a building, or we'll develop a blockchain pilot project, or we'll fly a flying taxi. And we always do this in partnership with our colleagues and partners within Dubai government, within the private sector. But this has put us into some very interesting situations. So if I could just share one small story with you. Many of you might have seen our 3D printed office of the future. It's a small one-story building in front of Emirates Towers, in between the AFC and Emirates Towers. White, looks beautiful, very futuristic. Let me emphasize it's beautiful. Worked on that project for quite a while. What's interesting about that, however, is as the only fully functional 3D printed building in the world, when we worked with our partners in the Dubai Municipality and Civil Defense to get the building certified so we could actually have staff in there and to sign off on its occupation, we realized there were no building codes for 3D printed concrete. There was no way to evaluate the safety of this emerging technology. And so it is our job, and thanks to our leadership and our support of our partners within Dubai government, we were able to ensure that it was developed safely, and that it was developed securely, and that we learned the benefits of working with our hands-on approach to this type of technology. But this is one example of, great, we can do that, right? As the Dubai Future Foundation, working as the Dubai government with the endorsement of our partners, we're able to take risks to develop new things like 3D printed buildings, or blockchain pilot projects, or flying taxis. But how do you scale that up? Right? All of the most interesting innovation is going to be happening in what I like to call pre-legal spaces. These are highly regulated industries: healthcare, education, technology, security, etc. And it's not that it's illegal yet, it's just not legal yet. Right? The rules haven't been written. So either, like you take the traditional approach to government, you wait to look at best practices in other countries, and wait until you're absolutely sure what's going to work and what isn't, and then you write the rule set based on that. But unfortunately, because the world is moving so fast, you're usually about 10 years behind your competitors at that point. Or you try to develop an approach to safely innovating through these emerging technologies and exploring what benefit they might be able to produce. And so that's why we're so passionate about this joint project with DIFC Courts, which is exploring a way that we might be able to help to facilitate safe pre-legal innovation, to encourage our partners in private sector and academia and in government to explore what these technologies and new business models might offer for them, but in doing so in a safe way, so that there's a framework for IP, intellectual property, there's a framework for dispute resolution, there's a framework for adjudication if things get complicated. And so this creation of this pre-legal space is one of the main reasons that we in the Future Foundation were so pleased when Mark and DIFC Courts came to us with this idea, because it's actually, we think, an essential missing ingredient for 21st century cities trying to understand how these technologies might benefit their core mandate or their core business, but also avoid the risks associated with it. You know, normally we have rules and regulations on one side and innovation on the other, but there's a valley of death between. So we're very proud to be part of this initiative. We think it's going to be a benchmark study for the rest of the world. And we'd like to thank our partners within Dubai government and Dubai Inc. and many of the Dubai Future Accelerator companies here for their contribution to this, both known, implicit, and unknown.